All right, let's check our audio real quick. Test 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. How's that sound, Alan? Test 1, 2, 3. All right, guys, here we go. We are live, kicking this off. It's been a while, so how's it going? I think it's been probably over a week since we were live, but I've been looking forward to this for a while now, and there is a lot to talk about tonight. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. First off, Bitcoin has been going absolutely freaking bonkers over the past couple of days. Go ahead and pull up a quick chart. That's what we're looking at. That's basically our trend. It's almost a 45-degree angle straight up. Looking pretty healthy there. Obviously, a lot of that excitement is caused by SegWit 2x and the hard fork there. Also, the CME group has launched futures trading for Bitcoin. So what we're looking at here is the Bitfinex Bitcoin future. This is for the legacy Bitcoin chain, and it's right at about $62.50 right now, $6,250. And then SegWit 2x is sitting there just shy of $1,000. So if you add those together, that's almost $72.50 for Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin itself is at $73.50. So pretty close. But I believe what that indicates is that Bitcoin is going to sell off probably to about that level, probably to about $62.50 following the fork. I imagine that's what that is foreshadowing. So I mean, we were expecting that back during the Bitcoin gold hard fork. Everyone was anticipating a pretty heavy sell-off in the price of Bitcoin, then altcoins would come back from the dead, but it didn't happen, and I think that's because SegWit 2x was lined up to go live just a couple weeks after it, so that's like a whole other wave of excitement, and now it's run up to $73.50. I think we saw 7,500. Actually, it was like 7,560. I want to say for our all-time high today. There we are, 75.69, somewhere around in there. So absolutely incredible. If there are some of you that have been here for every single live stream that we've possibly done, and by the way, for any of you who do join, feel free to chime in with questions and comments. I'll be monitoring those as we go here. But for anyone who's been keeping up as we go here, you've probably heard me, even I think it was a month ago. This was right after the sell-off. So we hit the all-time high of $5,000 September 1st, and then I started calling for $10,000 Bitcoin by the end of the year. I was pretty convinced it was going to happen at the time, but it's looking like that could very well happen. So it's still in the ballpark at this point. Since then, I mean, we've gone from 3,500 to 7,300, and we still have 2 months to go. So I think we could still see $10,000 Bitcoin by the end of the year, and I'm definitely hoping for that. All right, let's see what else is going on. Bitcoin Cash has had an insane run-up. The low is under $300. It pretty much since it spiked up to 900, the all-time high, back in mid-August, it's done nothing but sell off. It sold off down to 300 and kind of sat there for a while, and then I forget who it was. I think it was Bitmain came forward and said that in their expert opinion, they think Bitcoin Cash is the Bitcoin. They look at Bitcoin Cash as the primary Bitcoin currency. So ever since then, people have been buying it. Bitcoin Cash has gained traction, and I think they're anticipating Bitcoin Cash overtaking Bitcoin price-wise in the distant future. Could happen, I guess so, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. we'll probably have difficulty surpassing $1,000 for Bitcoin Cash, but we will see. Then we have Bitcoin Gold, which I still don't even know how to buy. I don't think the wallets or anything are out yet, but this is essentially Bitcoin Gold futures trading for 136. So if you add all those up, 136 plus 620, that's call it 750 plus Bitcoin, that's like $8,100. And then let's add the Bitcoin segment. So we're at over $9,000, almost $9,100. So the Bitcoin family, if you will, is already approaching that $1,000 mark. So we'll have to see what happens when Segwit 2x goes live. I think that's going to be pretty exciting. Honestly, I think there will be a sell-off, and hopefully the altcoins do benefit from that, but I'm really not sure. Taking a look at the overall market cap here. Let's see here, still just shy of $200 billion. We did surpass that threshold earlier today and maybe even yesterday. We've been hovering right at the $200 billion mark, which is awesome. I mean, here in the past like 2 weeks, hopefully this will bring up a chart for us. All right, so yeah, and since what's that, October 28th. So pretty much since the beginning of November, we've gone from 170 billion to 200 billion. So I mean, in less than a week, more than $30 billion of new capital has flooded into the crypto market. So to me, that is very, very exciting. I mean, a lot of the people that are calling for $1 million Bitcoin, their reasoning for that is always they accumulate all of the other markets, the gold market, the stock market, the bond market. There's all these trillions and trillions of dollars out there, and if even 1% of that migrates its way into cryptocurrency, then the price of Bitcoin is going to skyrocket out of control. And I mean, that's what we're seeing right now, and I think it's already started to happen, and there we are sitting at that healthy $200 billion mark. So yeah, let's move on and cover some actual news now. Let's see here. So this article posted just this morning. Title is China Bitcoin exchanges will trade over the counter. So essentially what they're trying to do is kind of circumvent the capital control that China put in place that caused the exchanges to shut down. They're no longer going to trade, or people will not be able to trade their crypto for other crypto using the exchange, but they will be able to exchange their fiat currency for cryptocurrency. I haven't actually checked into the actual models yet, but I'm assuming that it's going to be kind of similar to a Coinbase type thing, where there's more regulation in place, probably more fees because of it, because they have to deal with the added regulatory headache, and it's more costly to them to make this happen. So I'm sure the fees will be higher. But if it reopens China to the world, then I think that'll still be good for Bitcoin. I'm sure we'll see an uptick in the price when this actually goes live. And then another headline from today: the Iranian government plans new infrastructure for Bitcoin users. So basically what's going on is there, as the subheadline there says, there are tensions between Iran and the U.S. The United States government has placed some pretty heavy, what's the word I'm looking for? Wow, of course I can't think of the word. You know what? I'm really intent on finding this damn word. Where is... Sanctions. There you go. All right, so the U.S. government has placed sanctions on the Iranian government, and it's crippling some of their markets. I know their finance sector, their shipping sector, and their energy sectors have really been hit hard by the sanctions, and they're trying to escape the control there. I mean, as of now, they can't even participate in the really, they can't even use the U.S. dollar. That's how hard we've been hitting them with sanctions. But their retaliation, like their response, is basically to say, you know what? We don't want to use the U.S. dollar anyway, so we're going to move away from it, and we're going to start using Bitcoin instead. I think that is a bold statement. I think that's awesome. And again, this is going to be good for Bitcoin. I mean, I don't see any other way around it. So yeah, so you can find that video, the Iran using Bitcoin to circumvent U.S. sanctions. You can find that video on YouTube. Just search Crypto Answers and check it out. If you've already subscribed, you can just navigate straight to it and find it there. And then what else? So Iran is not the only country that is migrating to cashless digital currencies. Sweden is doing it as well. In fact, their goal is to be completely cashless by 2030. That's the deadline that they have set for themselves, and they're making pretty good progress in that direction. Norway and Denmark have also been kind of migrating that way. I think it was Norway that was having, or they were trialing cryptocurrency loaded onto smart cards, and they were giving that to immigrants. Supposedly, it was a more streamlined way for them to kind of dole out that welfare. And from the research that I did, it was working out pretty well. Now, do I agree with that? Hell no. I don't believe in welfare to begin with, and I think it's stupid to just hand out money to people who shouldn't even be there in the first place. But it still represents a bigger use case for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and blockchain and all that. So it's still worth mentioning. Now, last but not least, I'm excited to talk a little bit about Verge. It's been in the headlines. The YouTubers have been talking about it for months. I just got around to doing this research myself. The reason why I got back into it is because I was tracking it, and the graph is actually pretty interesting. It spiked up twice and then slowly sold off. And now that slow sell-off there, that trend has come to an end, and the exact opposite is happening. Now we're in a slow upwards trend. And so I think basically the pumping up is over, but it's still gaining traction because it's such a solid coin and such a solid project. This is the black paper. Instead of a white paper, they have a black paper. And it says Verge, the most privacy-focused cryptocurrency. And it lives up to that claim. Let's go ahead and jump into this. It really is a highly private coin. The transactions are private. The wallet, the storage is private. Everything about it is private. Like, this is the most anonymous coin out there, and that's why I really like it. So first off, it uses Tor integration. Tor, that's short for the Onion router, and the Onion router is it's basically an IP obfuscation service which enables anonymous communication across a layered circuit-based network. So in other words, it takes transactions from all over the world and sort of scrambles them up and then processes them together. And it's absolutely impossible to trace where they came from, where they're going. You can't trace the IP, you can't trace the destination. Nothing is traceable because the Onion router is that efficient. It also uses I2P integration. And then the wallet itself is called Electrum. Let's see here. I'm just going to go ahead and read some of this because it's hard to explain without using like the actual nomenclature that they've laid out here. So Electrum strength is speed and simplicity with low resource usage. It uses secure remote servers that handle the most complicated parts of the Verge network and also allows users to recover their wallets with a secret seed phrase. Additionally, Electrum offers a simple and easy-to-use cold storage solution. This allows users to store all or part of their coins in an offline manner. Moreover, Electrum is one of the only wallets to provide native Tor and I2P support. By integrating Electrum with Tor and I2P, one can achieve anonymity while using the desktop mobile wallet. Both IP address and transaction information is secured and does not leak to the connecting servers, increasing their privacy. So, like I said, this is the most private, secure coin out there. They've really done a good job providing a stellar, very safe wallet for everyone to use. And so just as a quick disclaimer, I do hold a small position in Verge. It's 20,000 Verge. It's worth like 150, 160 bucks right now. It's literally nothing, but I feel like I probably should disclose that. I'm hoping for a pullback in the price. So I have the trend line drawn here, and we have come back down to it. So I think here pretty soon, if it gets back down to 0.7 of a cent, whatever that equals in Satoshis, that's going to be a pretty attractive buy-in price, and that's what I'm going to be looking for. But I really do like this project, and I think it is going to be one of the best coins for the month of November. I think it's going to be pretty. The price action and the trading volume is going to be strong probably all month. Is going to gain more and more traction. Let's see what else I want to talk about. The Wraith Protocol. Let me go ahead and read this to you. The Wraith Protocol makes it possible to choose between a public or private ledger for the first time in cryptocurrency history while staying anonymous in both cases. This is something that no other coin provides. You're only going to get this with Verge, and that's why I really like this. Through this innovative new system, users who value transparency and accountability, for example, merchants, have the option to have transactions viewable on the blockchain. On the other hand, it provides an option to those who prefer transactions to vanish entirely. Wraith Protocol allows for complete anonymity to be maintained while providing a safe and secure method of sending and receiving Verge coins without transactions being traceable on the publicly accessible ledger. The update includes stealth addressing in the latest Tor and SSL integration that will take our core Qt users off of ClearNet and migrate them to exclusively operate on the latest Tor network. So that's a lot of technical jargon, but what that basically boils down to is obviously every cryptocurrency utilizes what is called a blockchain. That is the underlying technology. That's good because it's very, very secure. It's never been hacked before, but every transaction is very much public because of it. So what Verge is enabling its users to do is choose whether or not their transactions are viewable on the blockchain. They'll still be conducted on the blockchain, but they'll be encrypted to an extent to where no one will be able to view them, which is awesome. So there's going to be no way to track it at all whatsoever. Now, obviously, there's going to be a lot of people probably trying to come down hard on Verge, saying, "Oh, Verge is going to be the next dark coin, next Monero. It's going to be used for all this black market stuff, human trafficking, drugs, blah blah blah." I mean, I think the most important thing to remember is that the majority of the people who use this stuff, they're not involved in the black market at all. They just want privacy and security, and it's hard to find that this day and age with Google and Facebook and Instagram tracking every word that you say, every post that you make. They're just feeding off of you, and like they know you better than you do, and it's a scary thing. But Verge is enabling privacy in at least this sector of your life. So I think it's going to be pretty epic moving forward. So let's go ahead and look at the questions. What do we have coming in here? Why are you trying to copy Electroneum? I don't know anything about Electroneum. I mean, I've seen it advertised, but from what I hear, it's not really promising at all. So I don't know what you're talking about. Verge is solid though. So yeah, we're up to 26 live viewers now. So there are quite a few people that are here now that weren't here when we started. So welcome to the stream. It is good to have you with us. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick recap of the news because I did that first thing and most of you probably didn't even hear it. Let's go ahead and talk about Iran. So there is tension between Iran and the U.S. It's been going on for decades, but it's been getting more and more harsh, more and more stringent. And the sanctions that the U.S. has placed on Iran are really hurting their economy and their ability to business globally. So as a result, they're trying to move away from the US dollar entirely, and they're basically instituting a Bitcoin infrastructure. They haven't said this, they haven't said these exact words, but I think they might move towards making Bitcoin the actual currency of Iran, or at least making it very, very, very easy to use and not regulating it nearly to the extent that the US or China is. So it is good to see Iran step forward and become a haven for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. I think between Iran and Japan and some of these countries that are stepping forward and really, really taking positive action toward Bitcoin, I think it's going to be fairly protected moving forward. I don't think that in the immediate future we have to worry about governments just really stepping in and completely shutting it down. And again, I mean, they can shut down exchanges, but because these cryptocurrencies are decentralized, you can still conduct peer-to-peer transactions. You just won't be able to use an exchange. It will become harder. we'll have to go to, I don't know, Craigslist maybe, something like that, to set up face-to-face meets and do the transactions that way. Let's see, what else? Let's see. So this is an article we posted at Crypto Answers. The headline is China Bitcoin exchanges will trade over the counter. Again, this is basically the exchanges finding a workaround for the capital control that just came down from China. Instead of the exchanges being crypto to crypto exchanges, now they're going to be fiat to crypto exchanges, and there's going to be a whole new wave of regulation that hits it. But at least it looks like China is going to be reopened to the world, and they will be able to resume trade here soon. I don't know if it'll be this year, but I want to say soon, within the next several months at least, maybe early next year. Alright, nothing else coming in from the comments. I am monitoring the comments live, so if you have any kind of feedback at all, go ahead and offer it. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to address those. Oh, here's something I haven't talked about yet. This definitely caught my eye. The title is Ethereum's Vitalik Buterin, biggest Bitcoin investment platform likely is a Ponzi scheme. So, of course, what he's talking about is BitConnect. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that, but it is essentially a lending platform where the only way to invest is to transfer your Bitcoin to BitConnect by their currency, which is called BitConnect coin, and then you lend it to them. So you give them your Bitcoin, then you give them your BitConnect, and then they pay you US dollars daily, depending on their algorithm. But anyways, if you really look into it, there is a referral system that is like straight up a pyramid scheme. Like, they're making it obvious here. I think the way it works out, they just amended it recently, but if you recruit someone to BitConnect, then essentially you get, if you're a tier 1 recruiter, then you get 5%, tier 2 is 3%, and tier 3 is 2%. So that's like 10% that BitConnect is dishing out. So obviously, in order to keep that ball rolling, they have to keep recruiting more and more people, more and more capital to enter the market. And then if for any reason people stop investing in it, or BitConnect or Bitcoin, if the price of those currencies crash, then I think BitConnect could really experience some serious issues, and I'm not sure that it can survive it. Anyways, so let's see. I thought there was something specifically. Oh yeah. So another thing, if you've been keeping track of the top 10 currencies at CoinMarketCap.com, you would have noticed that BitConnect was number 7 overall, which blew my mind, to be honest. The market cap was over $2 billion, which placed it just under Dash. So I mean, it was sitting right up there with top tier, top echelon currencies, and now it dropped all the way down to 14th, and the market cap is showing under 600 million. So the reason for that, it was showing 14 million Bitcoin. I'm sorry, BitConnect trading on the open market, and now it's only showing 2 million. And so let's see here. The huge dip in BitConnect's market cap is due to, this is a quote, revised circulating supply calculation, according to CoinMarketCap. As Buterin pointed out to TNW over email, it has not affected BitConnect coin's price at all. So basically, they recalculated the way that they reported the price and the amount of BitConnect coins outstanding, and it completely dropped them down like $1.4 billion worth of market cap. So BitConnect is drawing a lot of eyes and a lot of attention today, and not in a positive manner. And that I thought that was worth mentioning. All right, let's take a look at the live price. See what's going on here. Nothing too substantial. Bitcoin is still poised right below $7,400 right now. It's up 3.69% today, and it has been going steadily upwards. That is the trend we're looking at right there. It's pretty steep, almost a 45% or a 45-degree angle there, just steadily upwards. So I think that'll continue probably until just a couple days before SegWit 2x. Then people are going to start taking profits in anticipation, and who knows exactly what's going to happen after that. But I'm sure there's going to be a sell-off, because I don't know what the heck, unless China reopens trade within the country. I think that's the only thing that can really keep Bitcoin steady at whatever price it is when SegWit 2x goes live. Then we have Ethereum sitting right at $300 right now. We've seen very, very little movement in the price of Ethereum. Let's see if I can pull up a chart on that. Last I checked, we were right in the middle of a nice ascending triangle, and we still are. Actually, you know what? Yeah, it's still an ascending triangle. So if you draw a line up like this, and then a line across like this, basically connect all the peaks. It's an ascending triangle. So the top is flat, the bottom is like the lows are becoming higher, the lows are ascending, but the high is staying the same. So eventually we're going to come to a point, and the price of Ethereum is going to have to choose which way it's going to break out, and hopefully it breaks out higher. Obviously, there is a lot happening with Ethereum right now. Vitalik Buterin is always at the forefront of everyone's mind. He's always making statements, always talking about it. They just released the Byzantium upgrade as part one of a two-part upgrade that is going to help scale Ethereum and also sort of turn it into a privacy coin. Part of Byzantium was the ZK snarks, the zero-knowledge proofs. And while that has gone active on the testnet, it's been live on the testnet for months. It's live on the mainnet now on the Robson network. And lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, but the ZK snark transactions, the privacy transactions for Ethereum are incredibly expensive. The gas cost is outrageous. I forget the exact numbers, but it's like 1,000 times as expensive to conduct a ZK snark proved transaction than it is just to do a normal transaction. So until they get that under control, I guess I'd have to say that the upgrade was not really successful until they figured that out. Man, I don't think I'm going to be able to remember it. They're looking at a new technology that is basically way better than ZK snarks, and it's like ZK. It's the nomenclature is similar, but apparently it's infinitely scalable and so much better. But we're like years away from developing it. So for now, we're stuck with ZK snarks, and we just have to find a way to make it affordable. What else? What else? EOS saw a pretty big jump the last couple of days. It was down at like 50 cents or something like that. Now we're back above $1 finally for EOS. Litecoin has been flat, just like Ethereum. Ethereum won't really break from the $300 mark. It's stayed within $20 or so for like a month. Litecoin has hovered around about $54, $55 for the same time frame. And you have Ripple hugging 20 cents, like just not wanting to budge at all. I'll try to pull up a chart for that. Probably a week or two, Ripple's been, yeah, look at that, just like a straight line. Ripple's not budging at all. So this right here was anticipation of the Swell convention that happened. That was on, what, the 16th of October? So you know what, I lied. That's not what that is, because that's a 7-day chart. There was a lot of excitement in the price of Ripple, or a lot of excitement for the convention, and it was indicated in the price of Ripple. It ran up to almost 30 cents, but then the convention came and went, and nothing exciting came out of it, so it sold off. Now, long-term Ripple is still a pretty exciting project because the Ripple network has more than 100 banks and participants. It seems like every week, every month, someone else is joining the network. So it is a growing network, and I think the project itself is promising. The only problem with Ripple is it's backed by the banks. It's almost an oxymoron in and of itself. Like it's a cryptocurrency, but it's not. So it kind of has that negative stigma assigned to it. ZK, let's see, the Zcash, digital cash, nothing too significant there. We were talking about Verge earlier, and it's going to be competing with Zcash and digital cash here pretty soon. Oh, another thing to keep in mind with Verge is, let's put this in perspective compared to Bitcoin. There's 16 million Bitcoins in circulation, whereas with Verge, I think there's 14 billion. Let me pull that up real quick. So circulating supply is, yeah, that's 14 billion. So there's 1,000 times, roughly, very, very rough numbers here, 1,000 times more Verge in circulation than there is Bitcoin. So if you wanted to put that in perspective, basically multiply this price by 1,000, and that's what the price would be straight across compared to Bitcoin. So move that decimal 3 places, 1, 2, 3, and it's about $7.50, about $7.50 per Verge. If you would reduce the supply to compare it to Bitcoin. So, and then comparing that further to like Zcash or digital cash, it has a long ways to go. It's definitely, I would say, underrated. I think it's worth more than what it is right now. But here pretty soon, I think we'll see it start to compete with Zcash and Dash and Monero, all three privacy coins. Then we have IOTA. We're seeing absolutely no positive price action out of IOTA as of late. I always talk about IOTA in pretty much every stream. I like IOTA. I love the Tangle network. Pretty exciting stuff. It's just there's a lot of development that has to be done in order for it to go live, and they're still working on it. So while that happens, people are, I guess, excitement is waning. So really, what we're waiting for is an announcement, and that will probably send IOTA through the roof. I'm just waiting for it to sell off a little bit further and probably initiate a position. I do have Neo. That was a mistake. As soon as the rumors about China coming back full force started circulating, I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a gamble, buy some Neo, because if these exchanges reopen and ICOs are good to go again, then Neo is going to just explode. And that didn't happen. It hasn't happened yet. It still could. I think I bought it about 28. It's at 26 now, so I lost a little bit of money, but I'm going to sit on it indefinitely. I'm not worried about it. Eventually, Neo will come back. So just waiting for that to happen. How about Stellar Lumens? This, no one's really been talking about it lately. It was up about 4.5 cents, I want to say, was the all-time high. So we're at just over half that right now. It's up 1.7% today, but it has been selling off over the past couple of weeks. The reason for the run-up was they announced a partnership with IBM. I forget exactly what the project was, but they're working with IBM to develop something. And so obviously IBM is a huge name. Everyone knows IBM. Stellar Lumens is working with them, so something big is probably going to come of that. It hasn't yet. So obviously it shot up on the news, but now it's sold off. And it might be a decent long-term gamble if you're willing to take that and lock in your money for that long. But for now, I think Stellar is probably going to continue to sell off. Even as Bitcoin sells off and some of that capital is distributed to the altcoins, I would not expect Stellar to really benefit from it much. All right, let's see if we have any more questions coming in. Ooh, Sarav Agahari. That's an interesting name. I like that. It has a ring to it. He says, TCC Exchange is good. I'll have to take your word for it. I've never used it. Oh, you earn 1 Bitcoin per month. I don't know. I think that might be a little bit of, I don't know. I can't get behind that. Anyways, William Keith Beatty says, we all want these to go up to make money, but to be a currency, would long-term, very stable price not lend more credibility to this new paradigm? I think it would. I mean, if you listen to any of the big names that are bearish on Bitcoin, one of their arguments against it is always the fact that it is so volatile. They say it's not a sort of money, it's not a currency, and it can't be either of those because it is so volatile. And so you're asking if price stability would earn it a little bit more credibility. Yes, I think it would, absolutely. I mean, right now we're seeing the price go up. I don't know that you could really consider that stability, but I mean, I would rather have my money in Bitcoin than the US dollar or any other investment asset because nothing else appreciates this quickly. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I mean, yes, the market is incredibly volatile, but I've said this I don't know how many times. It's so predictable. I mean, most of the other markets out there, the stock market, precious metals, gold, silver, all that stuff is so heavily manipulated. It's ridiculous. And because of that, it's almost impossible to predict. I mean, you can use technical analysis and break it down from every which angle, but someone can come and manipulate it and make all of that irrelevant. And I don't think that's being done to that extent in the crypto market. So that's why my money is in crypto right now. It is volatile. Volatility means there is money to be made, and it's easy to predict the market. I mean, everyone expected a run up prior to Bitcoin Gold, so everyone bought it. I mean, that's to be expected. I thought there was going to be a sell off between Bitcoin Gold and Bitcoin 2x, and then there would be another run up. Instead, we just ran straight up to $7,400 where we are now. But I mean, still, there was going to be a run up. The timing was just, we were a couple days off. But I think it's a very predictable market, and for that reason, there's a lot of money to be made. All right. Any update on Monero doing any big projects? Monero. So I looked into it. Someone requested it. This was weeks ago, and I did some research. And ultimately, I was not a fan of Monero. I don't like their Crypto Night algorithm. I really don't. I know it has a lot of history. I think it used to be called Darkcoin. I think it used to be called Darkcoin. It has a lot of history. It's been used since. I mean, I think Bitcoin only was introduced a few years before Monero. It's been around for a while, but I don't like the proof system. I don't like the algorithm, so I stopped following it entirely. Thoughts on Zencash? I don't keep up with that either. When it first hit the markets, I started following it because it skyrocketed, and I was like, man, I wish I would have known ahead of time so I could buy some. But I had no idea Zcash was even forking. But yeah, I haven't really been following that either, so sorry. William Key says, I agree with the appreciation. Government currencies are worthless. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I would rather have my money in crypto than fiat currency any day of the week because the government prints money so fast. It's absolutely ridiculous. People make the argument that cryptocurrency is backed by nothing. I mean, what is fiat currency backed by? Freaking debt is what it's backed by. It's time to look at the debt clock. Let's do this. U.S. debt clock. It's only a matter of time. I mean, everyone keeps saying that Bitcoin is a bubble. Bitcoin is a bubble. It's going to crash. Dude, the U.S. dollar is a bubble. Like the only thing keeping it afloat is the petrodollar, and I mean we are like 20-something trillion dollars in debt, almost 20.5 trillion dollars in debt now. That is a completely unsustainable figure. Our debt to GDP is now 105.55%, meaning it would take more than a year if the government just took every penny of every product that was made in the United States and just poured it straight in to pay down the deficit or the national debt, then it would take more than a year to pay off the national debt at this point. So since there's no way to actually do that realistically, if we really started to try to pay this down, it would take years and it would take decades. But no one is even interested in doing that. Like, no one wants to take away entitlement. No one wants to even talk about entitlement reform. We just want to keep shelling out money and free stuff to people who don't deserve it, and we're going completely broke because of it. And it makes me sick, honestly. But that's fiat in a nutshell. It is debt backed, and it's completely, I don't want to say worthless. I mean, it's still mainstream. Everyone uses it. It still has value. You can still conduct commerce in fiat currency, but I'd rather invest in crypto because it is rising exponentially compared to the US dollar, and every day, every moment of every day, we're losing purchasing power by keeping our money in fiat currency. Let's see here. Yassine Sharif says Sia Coin and Dogecoin. All right, so I actually hold small positions in both of those coins just because they're so cheap. I think I bought like 20,000 of each, and I'm just holding it indefinitely to see what happens. But Dogecoin, I know, was kind of sort of a gimmick. It did gain some popularity among, I think, YouTube streamers and stuff like that. It was used as a quasi tipping system, because you could send like 100 or 1,000 Dogecoin, and it's just a matter of pennies. So people were using it to tip streamers and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. That's a cool deal. But You could do that with Bitcoin. You could just send, 100 satoshis or something like that. 100 satoshis is like what? Uh, Less than a penny. I think it's like 7/10 of a penny right now. But so really, I think Dogecoin is pretty irrelevant, and it doesn't have a strong development team like some of the other currencies. It really doesn't have anything going for it that other currencies can't fill the same void. So I'm not too big on Dogecoin. Sia coin, oh man, I want to say Sia coin is a storage coin. Decentralized storage marketplace, which hosts. Okay, yeah. So I mean, storage coins overall, like that micro sector of the broader crypto market, is one of my favorites. It hasn't gained a whole lot of attention yet, but I think it will. Cloud storage is going to be a big deal, and right now, I mean, most of it is hosted by Amazon and Google and companies like that. But if these cryptocurrencies like Sia Coin, or the projects like Sia Coin and Storj, STORJ, that's another storage coin. If they start to gain any kind of traction at all, then I mean, again, if they can garner like 1% of the market share that is currently monopolized by Amazon and Google, then we can see a lot of capital start flowing into those coins and into those projects, and I think it'll be a big deal. So that's why I hold a small position, just on the off chance that Sia Coin skyrockets in value. At least I have a small position. But I haven't done a whole lot of in-depth research. It's been a month since I really looked into it. But it is a storage coin, and I think that sector is something to keep an eye on. Vasily Sadovsky said, Komodo, new platform. Any thoughts on this? I haven't heard of it. New platform. Do you mean like an exchange? I haven't looked into it. Komodo crypto. Let's see what that brings up. Decentralized ICO platform. Aha, gotcha. Well, this is awesome. I do like to see decentralized platforms. I guess the only problem off the top of my head I can think of with this is that there are several out there, so it's going to have some pretty stiff competition. Komodo will own 5%. Huh. I'll have to do some research on this. This does look pretty interesting, actually. I'm glad you brought that to my attention. Unfortunately, I'm not able to give you much of an input on my end, but it does look like a pretty interesting project. Joe Eibel says, do you happen to know what the deal with Litecoin and Ethereum is these days? They haven't done anything in the last couple of weeks. Yeah, man, I know. I've been disappointed myself. I held a pretty sizable Ethereum position for a while, like months and months and months, expecting it to eventually catch up to Bitcoin, and it just never happened. And I finally decided, you know what, it's not going to happen in the near future. And I think that's largely, well, the reasons are twofold. First off, you have the ongoing the ongoing Byzantium and Constantinople. Why can't I talk right now? Constantinople upgrades, which haven't been as successful as it was hoped that they would be. So Byzantium brought a couple of things to the table. First and foremost, scalability, which, I mean, it's not going to make Ethereum as scalable as we hoped, and there are much better programs out there like Hashgraph. If you haven't heard of Hashgraph, you should do some research on that. We just uploaded a video to our website, Crypto Answers. It makes for a really, really good read. Alan wrote this article, and it got really, really good reception because it's the technology, the fundamental technology that is Hashgraph is absolutely amazing. But how did I even get talking about that? Let me look at your question again. Oh yeah, so scalability is an issue for Ethereum, but so is the ZK snarks. I already mentioned this a little bit ago. I don't know if you were here for it. ZK snarks, zero knowledge proofs. They're supposed to add a privacy factor to Ethereum, which is awesome. That's awesome, but the ZK snark transactions are incredibly gas intensive. They're incredibly expensive. So the part one of that upgrade has not been very successful. So I think that's been a drag on the price of Ethereum. But also, reason number two is Bitcoin has been drawing all the attention. Everyone is all about Bitcoin right now because of the Bitcoin Gold hard fork. They wanted that free Bitcoin Gold airdropped into their wallet, and now people are all about the SegWit 2x because that's going to be a hard fork as well, and they want to lock in their SegWit 2x funds. Right now, the futures, the Bitcoin SegWit 2x futures are trading at $1,000. So honestly, I think the price of Bitcoin is inflated by about that much right now. But in order for that to happen, in order for the price of Bitcoin to skyrocket to $7,500 where it was at earlier today, people are selling other coins, other cryptocurrencies, Ethereum and Litecoin, just to name a few. And so we're seeing capital outflow out of those coins into Bitcoin temporarily so they can take advantage of the hard fork, and then it's probably going to flow back into those currencies. So I would look for that to happen here after the hard fork that is scheduled to occur on the 15th of November. So yeah, that's two reasons. And then number three, Ethereum specifically, I know Korea carried more trade volume for Ethereum than any other country in the world. Of course, Korea just started locking down their exchanges and ICOs just like China did. So I think that is really hurting the price of Ethereum more than most people realize because it's not really in the headlines. But I think that is definitely a factor. And the Litecoin, I mean, all the altcoins have been suffering right now just because so much capital is flowing into Bitcoin. But I think we'll see that trend reverse here in the near future after the hard fork. All right, Josh Chinchin says, I was told the other day that Bitmain mines empty blocks to drive up fees. Could you explain this? Why does it drive up fees? Well, I don't know much about Bitmain. I don't know. I mean, that would be pretty shady. I don't know anything about it. I'm sorry, I can't answer that question, unfortunately. Next question, Chris Warden. He says, we're not in debt. The debt equals everyone's 401k. When they want it, they will take it. No, that's not true. I've had this argument with someone before. This debt right here, that does not even include unfunded liabilities like 401ks and Social Security and all that BS. This is actual debt. This is money that we owe China, the Federal Reserve, people that have bought bonds from the United States government. Eventually, we have to pay those funds back, or in theory, eventually we have to pay them back, except it's never going to freaking happen. This is our actual debt. If you add unfunded liabilities to that, I think it's like $50 trillion or something. Let me try to find that figure for you. U.S. national debt plus unfunded liabilities. So here's a headline that suggests we have $128 trillion in unfunded liabilities. This one says real number is 70 trillion, 100 trillion. The last figure I saw that I actually believed was like 50 trillion, which is, I can't even comprehend that. Let's check this article real quick. Unfunded liabilities and the total net worth of our country is 94 trillion, and we have another 17 trillion worth of debt. All right, well, I don't really want to sit here and just read all of this in silence as everyone tunes in, but the actual debt with unfunded liabilities included is astronomical, almost embarrassingly so. Yassine Sharif has a question. XRP and Sia Coin and Dogecoin will be going uptrend? Question mark. When? So Sia Coin, I mean, that project is in its infancy right now, so they still have a lot of project development before it really takes off. If you're going to invest now, you might have to wait months or maybe even a year to really get a good payout. And there really aren't a whole lot of, there's not a lot of demand for decentralized cloud storage that uses the blockchain, but more and more projects are coming to life that are going to be using decentralized cloud storage. All right, I'm just going to say I've been withholding this information in all the recent live streams. We've been working with a company called PhotoChain, or they're launching a photo stock that is going to be called PhotoChain, and their project is freaking phenomenal. we're going to be uploading the video as soon as they sign off on the approval. It's ready to go. We could upload it right now if they sign off on it. But anyways, all of the photos that are going to be uploaded to the blockchain are going to be stored on IPFS, but they're also going to use cloud storage. So that is just one of many programs that are going to be utilizing and driving demand for decentralized cloud storage. And as more and more those projects pop up, I think it'll be good for Sia Coin and the other storage coins. XRP, I think as soon as Bitcoin starts to sell off and we see that capital flow into some of these other altcoins, I think XRP or Ripple is going to get like an immediate benefit pretty much. And then Dogecoin, I don't know about Dogecoin. I mean, that could go either way. There's not a whole lot of use cases for Dogecoin, so it's just a matter of someone somewhere generating hype for it, I guess. I don't know. I wouldn't dump too much capital into Dogecoin if I was you. William Keith Beatty says on GDAX there are constant 1 penny buys but never sells. What is this? Huh. I don't know. That's an interesting question. I haven't heard of it. I'm not sure. And there's a couple of other people asking the same question. I will have to look into that. Let me make a note of that here real quick. All right, I'll look into that, and hopefully I'll be able to answer that question satisfactorily in a later live stream. Eduardo Valentin says, what do you think about Amazon registering AmazonEthereum.com? Ooh, good question. I actually meant to talk about this, but I forgot, and I never pulled up the headline. So yeah, I think they're going to be looking to integrate, or at least start accepting cryptocurrency. Probably just the main ones, you know, Bitcoin, Dash, Ethereum, Litecoin. I'm assuming probably just the main ones. But I don't know when that's going to happen. I don't know the timeline. It could be months. It could be years. If I had to take like just a wild stab in the dark, I would say early next year, quarter 1, quarter 2, 2018. They might look at starting that, but I really don't know for sure. I do think it's interesting, and I think it's going to happen eventually. I just don't know when. Joe Eibel says, so if you doubled my money on Litecoin to date, you think it's a good idea to sell now? Well, if you've doubled your money, then you've done well. You've definitely done well. I wouldn't sell just because I haven't looked at a Litecoin chart lately, so I'm not sure what the technicals suggest. But I know that the high is around $90, and we're nowhere near that right now. We're at, what, 54? Just under 55. So I think Litecoin still has a ways to run. It is equipped with the Lightning Network. Technology-wise, it is actually superior to Bitcoin in some ways, and it is widely accepted. I've even seen some stores where they have a signpost that says Litecoin accepted here. It has a lot of notoriety. I think that there's some money to be made in Litecoin still with relatively low risk. So I don't think I would sell right now, but at the same time, I'm not initiating a new position right now. As we approach the Bitcoin 2x hard fork, I might. Probably going to look at buying Ethereum and or Litecoin because I think the risk is very low, but it'll be even lower as we approach the hard fork because, like I said, Bitcoin should sell off and the altcoin should benefit. All right, so it looks like the questions have dried up. Let's see what else we can come up with. I don't know if you guys follow the futures at all, but this is the Legacy Bitcoin future, 6250, and then the Segwit 2x future, right at $1,000. So that's 7350 together, which is almost exactly what the live price is right now. So what that seems to suggest is that following the hard fork, like we've already been talking about, Bitcoin is going to sell off probably at least $1,000 or so, and then who knows? What we need to figure out is where that capital is going to end up. Like, what are the best altcoins out there? If Bitcoin sells off right now, or after the hard fork, and it loses $1,000 per Bitcoin. Well, basically, what that equates to is, let's check out the market cap, $122 billion. So if it sells off $1,000 after the hard fork, that's like 14% ish. So 14% of 122 billion. No. 0.14 times 122,000 million billion. What is that? $17 billion in theory will flow into these altcoins almost instantly after the hard fork. So we just have to figure out which altcoins are going to benefit most strongly. So let me just go through and give you my opinion here real quick. Keep in mind, I'm not an expert. I'm not trained in this. I just do research and do some technical analysis. But I think Ethereum, Litecoin, Ripple, Zcash, dude, I mean, most of the top 20 is going to benefit, without a doubt, from the sell-off. Bitcoin Gold, as soon as the wallets start coming online and the code is released and we start developing miners for it, I think Bitcoin Gold will probably skyrocket just like Bitcoin Cash did following its release. We'll just have to see. What else? Some of the smaller altcoins. 10x. Okay, Vercoin will probably benefit. Verge will probably benefit. 10x definitely is going to see some capital influx. So I have a pretty decent position in 10x. I really hope that it's going to be everything that I think is cracked up to be. It is a pretty promising project. Really, what 10x is waiting for at this point is either to obtain their banking license or to gain entry into the United States, or there's one more thing. I don't know. If any of those do happen, then 10x is going to explode. It's going to be right up there with Zcash and digital cash. So I'm just hoping that does happen. Vasily Sadowski says, what about Zcoin? I don't follow it. I know that it was seeing insane trading volume, or I think it's up like over 100%. Well, that was Vcash. Yeah, it's up 124%. Zcoin. I'm trying to remember. I don't think I know anything about Zcoin. I'm assuming it's another hard fork of Zcash, but I don't even know really. I haven't done my research. Now, Grosso Coin blew my freaking mind. Let's take a look at that graph real quick. Grosso Coin is up like 200 or 300% in the past couple of days, and it makes me sick because I did a lot of research on this. Grosso Coin, I know, has been used as a test bed for Bitcoin in the past. I think it's Lightning equipped, and I believe it is also capable of atomic swaps. So Grosso Coin is pretty interesting from that aspect. The problem is we're paying a premium for that at this point. I wasn't able to get in when the getting was good. So I'm waiting for another sell-off in Grosso Coin. I mean, it's just weird how it spikes up and then sells off so hard, and it happens over and over again. I don't understand why. I mean, I don't understand why. But you might want to do some of your own independent research on it. It has been used as a test bed for Bitcoin before, like I said. It might happen again. And because of that, it's equipped with a lot of the upgrades that Bitcoin has been receiving, and it's even equipped with some stuff that Bitcoin does not have. So Grosso Coin is pretty interesting. But yeah, I don't know much about Zcoin at all. All right, Ray Herrera. Oh wait, I skipped one. Leroy Calabas. Anything for 8BT? I have no idea what that is, dude. Sorry. Ray Herrera, OMG, Salt, and EOS. So OMG, I've never really understood the hype behind that. I'm not very bullish on it. Let me say go. Salt, crap. I forgot. I did some research on it. I remember it being a pretty solid project, but I don't even remember what kind of coin it is, unfortunately. And then EOS, again, it's been ages since I did that research, and I don't know. JM Giordano asked the question, what about Solar Coin? So that's a coin that promotes people to produce energy, I believe, and they're rewarded with solar coins. Again, man, I haven't looked at some of these coins in ages. Let's just at least look at the price action. Oh wow, check out that price action. Wow, that's incredible. So we're looking at 36 million circulating supply, so just over twice that of Bitcoin. Um, Compared to the total supply, we're still pretty low, which means over time we're going to be looking at pretty high inflation for solar coin. Price right now is about 29 cents, which is very, very low compared to Bitcoin, especially considering that the circulating supply is relatively comparable. Um, yeah, unfortunately, it's been a while since I looked into the project. Um, I don't know anything about the development team or anything like that, but it has seen a lot of positive price actions, so maybe I need to give that some attention. I'm glad you brought it up. William Keith Beatty says, "What is the settlement date on the futures price for Bitcoin?" I think the settlement date is the date of the hard fork. From what I understand, um, the futures will cease and they'll turn into the live price after the hard fork, and then it'll fluctuate naturally from there. I think the settlement date is actually the date of the hard fork. Zach Peso asked a question: "Why I want to get into this game, but Bitcoin is so damn expensive now." Yeah, I mean the beauty of Bitcoin though is that you don't have to buy an entire Bitcoin. You can just buy satoshis at a time. Um, but so you might be saying, you don't want to buy in at the all-time high. And if that's what you're saying, then I agree. I would not recommend making your first Bitcoin purchase at $7,355. You're right, that is incredibly expensive, and I think the risk to reward ratio for Bitcoin right now is incredibly unattractive. We're not going to go too much higher before SegWit 2x on the 15th of November. Um, However, post SegWit 2x, the sell-off I think is going to be real. So the risk is high, the reward, I think we've already missed out. If you've never bought Bitcoin before, I think you've already missed out on most of the potential reward. So now is not a good time to make your very first investment in Bitcoin. You're right. I would wait for a pullback. I guarantee you there will be a pullback. I guarantee you. Just be patient. If you don't feel comfortable buying at this price, then don't do it. I think you're being smart. With that. Your conscience is leading you in the right direction, so just listen to it. Let's see. Michael Petrichol says, "What platform is that?" Sorry if it was already asked. I don't know if you're talking about this right here, Crypto Compare, or you know what? You're probably talking about this. This is TradingView, which is free to use. There is a premium version, but there are tons of indicators and different tools you can use for technical analysis. Um, Other than that, you may have been asking about CoinMarketCap.com. I think those are the only three I've used so far. Crypto Compare, CoinMarketCap.com, and TradingView. Mark Bussard asked about Qtum. So Qtum I looked into not too long ago because I think it recently started trading on Bittrex. Is that right? Qtum, or maybe it was Bitfinex. Trading live. This is on October the 10th. So yeah, that was just a couple weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. So yeah, I looked into it then. I thought maybe there was going to be an uptick in the price, but I don't think it really happened. If it did, it's already pulled back. Let me pull it up real quick. Trading at $10 right now. So yeah, it's been slowly but surely selling off. Oh, that's right. Okay. So this is what I saw. I saw the head and shoulders right here, like the incredibly obvious head and shoulders. And usually after that, there's a sell-off. So, I mean, that's exactly what happened. There was this sell-off almost down to the lows. And then it's been, we've seen marginal price action after that. So just taking a quick look at the technical analysis of it, it wasn't enough to really spark my interest. I'm not sure why. Well, I was going to say I don't know why it hasn't seen much positive price action, following that announcement, but it's probably because everyone's still pouring their money into Bitcoin. So CUDA might actually be a pretty solid potential recipient of some of that capital outflow from Bitcoin after the hard fork. We'll just have to wait and see. Bytum is going to the moon, says Mansa Musa. Again, I don't know anything about Bytum, so I can't comment on that. Zach Peso says, what do you think are the next crypto that will possibly blow up or be worth it? So I already talked about Verge tonight, and I mean, Verge has been hyped, it's been pumped, it's been dumped in the past, and comparative to its all-time price, we're actually pretty high right now. So if you want to look at getting into Verge, you might want to wait for a pullback because we've been running up here pretty fast. However, Verge is one of my favorite projects right now. It is a privacy coin. It is the most private coin out there. It has a solid wallet that they have designed, a cold storage wallet. It utilizes the Onion router to scramble up all the transactions and make them completely anonymous and impossible to trace. Integrated I2P with its wallets. I already covered all this earlier, but the whole project is unbelievably solid. The only thing I haven't looked into is the development team. Here's all the contributors and marketers and the actual development team here. I have not done research on the actual development team. That's the next step for me before I really decide whether or not to introduce a large amount of capital to this project. So I recommend doing your own independent research on Verge. It sounds absolutely freaking amazing, and relative to the price of Bitcoin, I think it is trading very, very low, and it is very much undervalued. So you might want to look at Verge. Other than that, PhotoChain. We're going to release a video probably tomorrow on PhotoChain. That pre-ICO is going to go live here mid-October. I'm sorry, it's November already. It's going to go live mid-November. You're going to want to get in on that, let me tell you. It's we already interviewed the development team. They are solid. Some of their developers are absolute freaking geniuses. Like they're all into quantum mechanics and all this stuff, and their background transfers over to blockchain perfectly. So I'm a huge fan of the development team. The actual PhotoChain, the project itself, the idea behind it is amazing. It's going to be replacing the existing photo stocks like Shutterstock and I forget the other big ones. And actually, the CEO, I believe, of Shutterstock is actually going to be working with PhotoChain. So like they have, they're consulting with all the big names out there. They have a solid development team, and make sure you check out that video at Crypto Answers on YouTube when it goes live tomorrow, I believe. It's a pretty awesome project. Masimba Chim says, if Verge hits $1, we're going to be millionaires. Yeah, if that happens, we will be millionaires. If that happens, though, I mean, let's see what the valuation is going to be. I think there were 14 billion. Hold on, 14 billion Verge outstanding, right? So if they're $1 a piece, then the market cap would be 14 billion. It's at 106 million right now. Wait, what did I just say? Yeah, $14 billion. Yeah, I hope that happens. I really hope that happens. So Masimba Chim also said, SONM is a sleeping giant. It's going to be huge. I don't know what that is. Never heard of it. What's your opinion on Electronium? Definitely heard of that. I think it's being pumped hardcore right now. But the actual development team behind it is not all that promising. The actual idea is just questionable. I mean, I'm not about Electronium. Zach Peso says he's going to look into Verge. Good man. I highly recommend that. And that is the end of the questions and comments for now. So yeah, it's 10:20 p.m. I'm starting to lose my voice. It's getting a little bit scratchy, and Bitcoin, the volatility is dying down, so the excitement's dying down. We've covered quite a few questions and quite a bit of the news for today. Let's see if there's anything else right before we wrap this up. See what Crypto Panic has to offer. Bum, bum, bum. So this is what I was talking about right here. This headline says smart money is moving back into alts before everybody else in anticipation of the Bitcoin dump. So I mean, it's not a secret that people are anticipating the Bitcoin dump. So we're going to see the market start to reach an equilibrium probably a couple days before the actual hard fork. So if you really want to get in on the altcoin action, you're going to want to make sure you get in at least a couple days early. What else? Coinbase, the Bitcoin exchange, adds 100,000 members in just 24 hours. That is old news. Blah blah blah. Yeah, nothing new. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. For everyone who did tune in, thank you very much. It's always good to have you with us, and thank you very much for your feedback and your questions. All right, so Mansa Musa, I'll answer one more question, but before we wrap this up, he says, "What are your top 5?" Verge, definitely one of my top 5. 10x, definitely one of my top 5. I don't think I would include Vertcoin. I've been day trading Vertcoin on and off because it's been very, very volatile and there's money to be made. I just don't know if I want to be stuck holding that long term in case I goof up on one of my trades. IOTA, long term, one of my top 5 for sure. What else? PhotoChain, when that project goes live, I'm going to be investing. I'm going to do whatever it takes. So that's 4 of the 5. What else? Maybe Ethereum. I still think Ethereum has more to offer than any other currency, any other project out there. It has the best development team. They are incredibly active. I'm gonna go ahead and have to say Ethereum for number 5. They just have to go live with. They have to figure out the ZK snarks. They have to make the privacy transactions cheaper. They have to go live with Constantinople, and then they have to enable, what was it? There's one more thing specified in their roadmap that they need to implement. But if all that goes smoothly, we're going to see Ethereum skyrocket, and it could happen as soon as Bitcoin starts selling off here. I just don't know, but Ethereum is a very good project, so I'm going to include that in my top 5. All right, so since the questions are starting to pour in, we'll just go ahead and continue the live stream. Masimba Chin wants me to check out SONM, so I'll go ahead and pull that up, see what we can find. Like I said, I've never heard of it, but I'm always open to new projects and new ideas. So let's see what they have to offer. So it stands for Supercomputer Organized by Network Mining. Interesting. It is a universal fog supercomputer powered by the Ethereum blockchain. I have no idea what that is. SONM's secure and cost-effective fog supercomputer is designed for general-purpose computing, from mobile app hosting to video rendering to DNA analysis. Miners all over the world can leverage their idle computer power to become part of the SONM network. Site hosting, game servers. So there's going to be a whole bunch of uses for it. That's always good. Video streaming. Looks like it's going to be built on the Ethereum blockchain. Okay, so yeah, this is a very cool project. I'm glad you brought this up. It offers an opportunity for miners to earn tokens by performing calculations for everyone in the network. Any smart device located anywhere in the world can take advantage by joining the fog network and selling computing power peer-to-peer via the SONM application pool. That sounds awesome. I mean, yeah, so if you go to work for the day, you can just basically let your computer run, lend that power to the network, and then you will earn a reward in the form of SONM tokens. So that's pretty cool. So, I mean, right off the top of my head, the only drawback I see is that I think there are already competitors out there similar projects. I know. Oh, NiceHash. There you go. So I started using this NiceHash miner, and it's, I think, if I understand this correctly, it's kind of a similar concept. I'm indirectly mining for other people by lending them my power, and I get paid Bitcoin for doing it. And so, like when I leave for work for the day, I click start, and it automatically lends my computing power to whoever is trying to purchase it. And there's a whole bunch of algorithms that it cracks. I mean, you can mine anything from Zcash to Verge to Vertcoin. I mean, there's dozens of different coins you mine through this NiceHash program. I think that's a similar concept to SONM. And then you have the what's it called? Burst coin. Similar construct where you lend your computing power for burst coins. I don't know. I mean, it is interesting, and maybe they can do a much better job than any of the existing projects. I mean, who knows? I'm gonna do some more research on this. I do like the project. That's pretty nifty. I like it. It does sound similar to NiceHash though. And so as far as this NiceHash is concerned, um, I made about $1.89 using this program. That's not much money. It took 2 whole days of running my computer nonstop to make $1.89. So I'm less than impressed with NiceHash. So in order for SONM to really be viable, it's going to have to do better than that. It's going to have to be more profitable than that to really draw much user interest. So we'll have to see what they have to offer. So Masimba Chim says his top 5 are Komodo, ARC, Ox, OMG, and SONM. Did we already look at the price of SONM? Oh yeah, it was like 30 cents, right? No, I lied. 8 cents. So the all-time high is what? $1 or so? Just shy of $1. And we're sitting at, yeah, I'm glad you brought this up. I'm definitely going to do some more research. Circulating supply is pretty high, almost 360 million. Total supply 444 million, so there's not too much more inflation to be seen there. Volume is not too bad. That's fairly strong. More than $500,000 of average daily volume. Not bad. I'm definitely going to do some more research in this. That's pretty awesome. Recent high of 20 cents. We're at 8 cents now. I like it. I like it. Zach Peso says, I need to get into mining. I use my neighbor's Wi-Fi and can just leave my CPU on all day. This on surface web or deep/dark. Can you do mining on smartphone, tablets, or just CPU? So I'm not a mining expert by any means. My knowledge of mining is very, very low, unfortunately. This is the only experience I have with mining. And like I said, this is not even really mining. This is indirect mining, I guess. I'm lending my power, computing power, to someone else who is actually mining. But, so you're not utilizing, well, I think I may have misunderstood what you said, but you cannot mine efficiently on smartphones or tablets. You need a pretty good GPU to be able to mine efficiently. The new iPhone, I know, the iPhone, what is it, iPhone X, iPhone 10 or something? I'm not tech savvy, really. I have the iPhone 5. I'm way behind the times. But the new iPhone is supposed to have a very, very, very powerful processing chip. I wanted to do a video on that. I was hoping that it would be able to be mined, or to be able to be utilized for mining efficiently, because the chip that it's going to have is going to be one of the most powerful out there. But I spoke to some people that I felt would be able to answer that question. They told me that it's not really going to be able to be used for that. So who knows? What about strats? I don't know anything about strats, unfortunately. Leroy Calabo says, should we buy altcoins before Bitcoin fork or after the fork? I'm looking to shop heavily. Okay, if you want to get into the altcoins, you want to get in before the fork, 100%. Smart money is going to be getting in probably 3 or 4 days ahead of time, maybe even 5 days. Um, so, I mean, here, what is it, the 4th of November? I want to say by the 9th or 10th, you probably want to have your altcoins locked in by the 10th of November. I've heard someone predict that Bitcoin's going to crash on the 11th, which that's 4 days prior to the hard fork. But it could still happen. But I would definitely try to have my altcoins locked in before then. That's my intention, anyways. On the 10th of November, I'm gonna go shopping. I'm gonna buy some altcoins. Zach Peso likes his setup. He says he has an i7 3820 and GTX 1070. I'd be curious. I'd be curious to hear your input. If you've ever used NiceHash, I wonder how your profit would compare to my profit. I'm using a laptop right now. What do I have? Core i7, NVIDIA GeForce GTX 970M. Your processor is probably a lot more powerful than that, so I'd be curious to hear how much profit you can make in comparison. That would be interesting. What do you think about the Manai's ICO on Komodo platform? What is the future for Strat? Man, unfortunately, I don't know much about. Let's go back to Komodo real quick. I don't know anything about Manai's. I mean, even Komodo, this whole platform is new to me. It almost looks like this platform is already live, which means, like I said, there's competition for. There are several decentralized ICO platforms out there, but this one might have a head start. I'm not sure. I'll have to look into this. Komodo and SONM. I want to be doing research on those two projects. What is the future of Strat? I don't know. Not bad for a laptop. Yeah, it's a decent laptop. I can play all my games on it at least. And it's just not good for mining apparently, because $2 in 2 days is ridiculous. I mean, there's no point in overworking my laptop for $2. You know. All right. Yeah, again, I just want to thank everyone for tuning in. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up because it's getting pretty late. I have day shifts coming up next week, so I got to get my sleep schedule back on track. But thank you guys so much for contributing. Thank you for asking your excellent questions. It's always good to get that user interaction and feedback. I'm going to go ahead and sign off for now. But as always, I'm wishing you all good health and good fortune. I hope you have a good night and a good rest of the weekend. Peace, guys. Take care.